y'all? It's JC the Light from Conversations on Film. And make sure y'all click that button right here if you know what's good for you. This is the conversation that's going to push through to your soul. You're going to have a better relationship. You're going to live better. You're going to eat better. You're going to do your thing, brother. Click.
What's up, y'all? This is your boy Shatek the producer. This is Conversations on Film on the Beatsonfilm network. Today, we got our usual suspects today. It was kind of hard to get these niggas in the room at the same time. Niggas go viral and shit, and they got too much shit going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that's been tuning in on Instagram and having that clip go viral. It was almost at 2 million. It'll be 2 million before y'all hear this. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that is commenting and liking it and everything. And shout out to all the other clips. They're doing very well. Shout out to Rick for disrespecting black women. They pissed the fuck off about that shit too. You know what I mean?
The most disrespected. Y'all live creature on the planet.
Exactly. So today, you know, we have Hollywood Rick.
I'm in the building.
All right, talking that mic.
In the building.
You know what I mean? And we got JC the Light.
JC the Light, spiritual healer, love doctor, the people's therapist. Don't do that to me.
Okay. And we have a Jada G.
What's good, all my boos and babes and everybody out there? It is your girl. She's here. She's arrived. Mm-hmm.
And we got Viral J.
Hey, yo.
VJ.
Viral J.
It's Pick Me Jazz.
All right. So today, you know, we've been on a high horse. You know, we had some champagne courtesy of JC the Light after he just said some crazy shit y'all gonna see. Celebrating the victory. So, you know, speaking of celebrating the victory, our black people today have become victorious in a situation in Alabama.
Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. We seen today, well, not today, a couple days ago, there was this fight at the boat. Can you inform us, please, Jada? You know, that is your thing.
Me?
Tell us what happened.
Well, all my boos and babes, let me bring you down memory lane. Yesterday, a national holiday ensued. We don't get paid for it yet, but I'm working on it as we speak. And yesterday was National Fuck Around and Find Out Day.
Hallelujah. And
that's what happened on a riverboat. Big wheel keep on turning. So down in Alabama, there was a riverboat brawl that ensued when a good fellow member of the African American community, allegedly his name is Dang Dang, shout out to him, was just doing his job as black men do, being security, securing the waters. And he asked a group of white boaters to please move their boat so that a bigger boat could be docked in. Well, some people yesterday decided to use white privilege and white entitlement and decided that they didn't have to move their boat. And we seen our good brother try to cajole. He tried to reason. He tried to use logic. He did everything not to be ignorant or niggerish, and it still didn't work. Then they decided that they were going to use the spirit of their ancestors and go Ku Klux Klan on my good brother, and they began to jump him. But oh, my brothers and sisters testify. What they didn't know was that we were in our Tracy Chapman bag. We would decide we were going to reach our brother by airplane, by swimming, by rowboat canoes, jet skis, and jetpacks. And we teleported to whoop their asses.
Amen.
And what ensued was a concoction of Negro spirituals, the spirit of Rodney King, Harriet Tubman, Medgar Evers, and a sprinkle of Malcolm X, and a little bit of ECW because there was a chair. And yes, and I have, yes, that's true. I just received word that the chair will be going to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. because it is a national black monument. So power to the people. And I like real talk. Yesterday, I don't know about y'all, but I watched that video about 1,000 times. Like because every time you watch it, you get something different, like, and you get different perspectives. But what really pleased me the most was how united we were. There wasn't any questions asked. We saw an injustice and we righted it. And I think the real reason why so many of us were elated, not just about the violence, because I don't want the violence to just be so showcased, but it was a trigger. First of all, Black people by ancestry by water, boats. Last time we was on a boat 400 years, it didn't work so well in our favor. Last time, we know for a fact, history shows us that Alabama was the most segregated racial state in Jim Crow era. So to see all of this now, 2023, we're not, and I don't want to keep saying that we're not our ancestors, because you're right, we're not our ancestors because our ancestors had to endure some things we never thought of. But we're not our ancestors in the spirit of being docile, in the spirit of turning the other cheek, in the spirit of we just gonna march and then we marched on the ass.
Yeah. I think the thing that you mentioned the most was being triggered. I automatically got triggered by that, right? And there's sometimes where you see a video go viral or something like that happening, and you have people in the comment section that might be like, oh, we shouldn't always choose the violent route. I think there was a consensus in this particular clip that violence was the only way to handle that. And that's what I loved about that, right? When I saw son swimming in the water,
Bruh.
yo,
He swam to the fight. That's some different shit. This nigga swam to the fight and got over and took his shoe off like, what's up?
Do you know how heavy his clothes had to be?
Yeah.
Do you know how much energy is exerted from swimming?
And that is the unifying thing right there. That whole idea that we all recognize that, bro, it's time to take the high road, and the high road didn't work, and now you gotta fuck around and find out and get your ass whooped. And we all were united in that. I ain't see nobody be like, oh, well, this is why Black people. None of that wasn't there. Everybody had the fucking consensus that we had to beat their ass at that particular time.
We all chose violence.
Yeah, chose violence. Violence chose us.
It did.
Yeah,
we just responded.
And we accepted the invitation.
But first of all, the bat signal of the hat, nigga, that hat went up. First of all, the hat never came back down. The hat never came back down. And he threw that shit mad smooth. That was the national fuck this job. Cause y'all got me fucked up. He threw that hat mad smooth, and it was on. And the fact that when the little white lady tried to jump in, that's when the sisters jumped in. And then one brother, he was going to hold a woman back. The black lady, he's like, oh no, she a woman, get her. Yeah. To me, this was like, it was holy. I don't know how to, I don't know no other way. I don't know. No, like we was baptizing niggas. We was laying hands in the name of Jesus. We offered the white lady a seat. It was over her head, but we offered the seat. I mean, it was everything to me. Like I have watched that clip so many times. I've watched the footage from people on the boat. I watched it from footage on the platform, on the deck. I loved every minute.
Yeah, it was really spiritual.
Yes.
For real. It was spiritual. Because we were talking to each other without talking.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't hear nobody say, yo, come help me. We just knew that we were.
It was instinctual. And I think I think the real reason why a lot of us felt like this sense of camaraderie is because oftentimes when we do equate violence with Black people, it's always in a negative form. This was justified.
Yes.
It was, we clearly saw, we saw that he wasn't the antagonist. He was the protagonist in this instance. And it was like, nah, we're not doing that. And he's not alone. And again, it's the trigger that is in all of us, whether we're in 2023 or 1953. It's just that now we were able to write this, and we was like, nah.
And no one can change the narrative because, the video is there. So no one's going to make no clips and cut it out, and you'll see when the black brother is hitting them first or something like that. It was there. We got it. The whole story is laid out from different angles all over, and we got to see one person playing the role of, yo, listen, I'm telling y'all just to move on, and they jumped on him, right? And he's defending himself clearly. So, anything else after that, we don't even want to hear it after that.
And the crazy part is the dude that hit him first wasn't even the person he was talking to in that moment. He ran from wherever he was to come and swing on bro. I loved it. I ain't gonna hold. It made me want to stand up. I wanted to put on every black spiritual, every song you could think of. I was here, the Black National
cloth.
Anthem. I was here for every moment of it. Like, and guess what? I know we go back and forth a lot on this show, but for the moment, the black men and the black women had each other's back.
Yes.
We was fucking it up together. Like, that was the one moment that made me proud. Like, yes, we getting it.
Yep.
We unfortunately, we took a loss, and I'm gonna explain to you why. As good as it felt watching our people do what they were supposed to be doing, in the end, what happened? I don't know if y'all seen the whole video. Did you see how the black cop arrested the black person?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Very aggressive.
I mean,
It be us.
No. Let's think about it.
Okay.
As a black person, when you see your own people doing something that they're supposed to be doing, you don't attack them. You don't arrest them in that kind of way. Why do we always want to follow those type of rules when it comes to white people? So that situation right there showed me that we're still enslaved, because what happened? People are making jokes like, my friend was like, damn, why he hit her with a chair like that? Why did Zimmerman try to sell the gun that killed Trayvon Martin? Why do we always have to have sympathy for other people? They don't have no sympathy for us.
Nah, I get you. That's true.
Well, although they were arrested, and I don't know if the officers that responded saw how it transpired, right? Because sometimes when you just see the antagonist, or what you think is the antagonist, that's who you're supposed to go after. From my understanding, that's how training works, right?
But
if you saw somebody with a gun, that's who you going after, no matter what the situation. But what I will say in hindsight as well is the mayor came out and made sure that the white people got arrested as well. This was after the fact, but I did see that. I saw that today. So I don't know what's going to happen of this situation. I did catch that, like, yo, why are they only going after the black people? I guess we are the aggressors mostly, or they think that. Right. And again, it was us. But I also want to say, because it was black cops, I don't think it was as bad. Because I think if it was white cops arresting the black people, it would have
totally
really
escalated
into something completely different.
No, it should have escalated into something that it should have been escalated to.
But I
agree.
I'm usually not one of those people that, like, just contribute to any GoFundMe and nothing like that. But if there's a GoFundMe for these people that got arrested, and I mean, I got my bread ready.
Right. I got some money for your JPEG.
Yeah, I mean, I put some money on your books real fast, and I mean, because they did the heroic thing.
Well, did you hear the brother when he was like, go ahead, I'm good, I'm gonna come home. He's like, okay, in that instance too. Now let's be fair. You literally, so the police officer was there when he was hitting the woman with the chair. Yeah. It's like, all right, I'm letting y'all bang, but you can't. I can't let you bang, girl. Like, come on, bro. Like, So I just listen. I don't have anything negative to say. Nothing will dampen fuck around and find out day for me. Nothing.
No,
There's
not
nothing.
at all. I'm about to
and shout out to 16-year-old C Murder. Aquaman, Michelonium B Phelps. My baby swam to the and he wasn't breaststroke. I mean, he wasn't doing he was swimming like hand over hand. It was just magical. Yeah, it was good.
I wish we could do that.
Yeah, we should be doing that all the time.
My fault.
Hit that. No, I want you to hit on that because I know where you're going with it.
On every situation, situation we come together. Nobody comes between black people.
Agreed.
If you disrespect one black person, you disrespect all. And I'm gonna come clean. This is why LGBTQ, right, has a place in this world, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they stand together.
Yeah, they do.
Disrespect one person, disrespect everybody. Mm-hmm. But if somebody disrespects a black sister, guess what? Oh, it's just her. She must have done something wrong. Disrespect the black man. You must have done something wrong. Nobody.
Well, that goes back.
We don't come together.
But that goes back to what Jada was saying, I believe one of our last episodes, that when it came to the woman in Chicago with her son, how we don't think initially as black people that black people come with a level of protection, right? We don't think that you're coming with a crowd. We don't think, and if you are coming, it's the uneducated crowd. It's not the people that are the letter writers, the email writers. It's not the politicians. It's not the lawyers. It's not anybody that can make anything move and shake. to where we don't know who these people were today or this past weekend. But damn it, they made that motherfucking deck shake, literally and figuratively.
Shook the table.
I know sometimes it really only takes one. So, because look at somebody like Rosa Parks, who just from her one action, it caused this whole movement. So hopefully what they did was eye-opening in our community. And what they have done is going to make us think a little bit harder about coming to each other's rescue and being one and having camaraderie. I'm hoping. Because I like I said, it just like it was almost like the energy was infectious through the screen, watching it. It was
it's
like
electrifying through everywhere.
Yes, I loved it.
I'm glad that you hit on that because I literally posted that on my social media. So I said it may be too early, but random thought. What if we move economically, community-wise, the same way that we came to the rescue? We have to be. There's nobody coming to save us, Black community. If we want it to be, it's up to you and me. You got to look in the mirror. And your problem has to be my problem. We might not even agree. You might disagree behind the scenes that I am the problem. But in the front, we have to be able to move and stand and be together as one. And like JC said, I'm not even just going to go with the LGBT community. We could look at the Jewish community. We could look at the Asian community. You do something to one of them, you have effectively did it to all. Yeah. And they form a blockade, a strong one, impenetrable. You can't get through because one person was offended.
Yep.
And then guess what? When that one person is offended, you need to apologize to all of us collectively. Yeah. So we have to be able to stand together just like that. Look at what happened with Jamie Foxx.
I was just about to say.
Come on, sis. I'm here with
you.
you.
Look at what happened. So now, when he wasn't even told, none of us, unless you were Jewish, took that he was talking about Jews.
I don't even think Jews felt like that. Yeah. I think that there's a persona as soon as you mention that word Jew.
Or Jesus.
But he didn't say Jew.
He said didn't.
They.
Right. He said they. But even when it's alluded to, there is this like, ooh, oh my goodness. You can't, because you know why? You know the repercussion that is coming from messing with them collectively.
Yep.
And that's what I was alluding to before. Like, there has to be a level of protection for Black people, Black men, Black women, where you know if you F with one of us, you F with all of us. And the economic powers that Black dollars spend, we don't realize the power that we could use that would be unstoppable.
But I think that's the thing, though, right? The thing is the realization. If you don't realize your power, then you really can't use it, right? So I think everything that we've been trying to, all the forces have been trying to stop us from recognizing what our actual power is. And it's moments like what we had this weekend that could show us, like, oh, listen, if we team up, if we unite, we could do a lot, right? We could do way more than we think that we can do. But the powers that be, or the people, the way the system is set up, is for us to continually be divisive, so we don't recognize what our powers are, right? Because if we don't recognize our powers, then we can't use them, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you don't know that you got, laser beams coming out your eyes, you know what I mean? You don't know when to use them, right? So that's the thing. And I think we were talking behind the scenes before about being intentional, right? You got to be intentional in your position as a Black man, being intentional in your position as a Black woman, and recognize that's who you are and what your stance is, right? And a lot of times if you work in the corporate field or the corporate world, or if you're just out in the world itself, you recognize that when I do something, we're the only race that when we do something, it's all of y'all, right?
Yeah.
We get painted as that. Oh, listen. Especially when we do something negative, right? When something negative happen, it's just them being niggas again, right? It's them. Right? It's not you as an individual, because you're representing all of us when you do something negative, right? But then if you do something positive, it's like, oh, see, he's different from the rest of them, right? So we have to know our stance in the world and recognize that when we go out into the world, we're representing everyone. I'm representing him, I'm representing you, and I have to, live my life according and do the right thing accordingly and make decisions, intentional decisions that will benefit us as a whole when we go out into the world.
When there's a chance to make a difference, Black people don't do it. So let's go back to Colin Kaepernick. When he took a knee, he wasn't disrespecting the flag, disrespecting police brutality.
Yeah.
But then again, when you listen to the national anthem, it talks about slavery.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah.
Now when we go to Kanye West, when he said all of them things on Drink Champs, Black people was upset at him. But in my mind, I'm like, why are you getting upset at another person talking about another culture?
Yeah,
Then we go to Kyrie Irving. And he did what he did. When black people have a chance to take a stance, they don't do it because even black people was against him, and he's talking about another culture.
The only reason why I disagree with you a little bit, because like Kanye be picking and choosing when he want to be black, right? And you can't be like that. Like if you're gonna take a stance with black people, you gotta take a stance all the time. It can't be, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna run home to y'all when it's convenient, or I'm gonna disrespect them over there, and then when they start playing me, I'm gonna run back home. Right? You can't do that. You're gonna have to be intentional about being black all the time. Don't forget that Kanye told us we was being slaves and we had choices and all that. You know, don't forget that, right?
And that was the greatest quote he said.
So it's interesting. I'm reading your pants, JC. It says, "Who decides war?" Now, if you do your history and we really look back at history, in war, one of the easiest ways to overcome anything is war is divide and conquer. And everybody else seems to know that but the black community. That once you divide people, it is so easy to get one side on your side and then cause conflict and friction. Like, we love to be divided. It's almost like we have to have it. We have to have the division. Where other cultures, you're not going to divide them. They don't even got to agree with each other. They don't got to like each other. Well, guess what? We got a united front going on. And I think we got to get to that place as a people to where I agree with some stuff Kanye says, but I also agree with Rick that it can't be, you can't waver the fence. You can't straddle the fence. Like, either you all in or you out.
Yeah. Can white people straddle the fence?
They don't.
What in
as far as being accepted,
of
like, it doesn't matter if a black person wants to be on and off. You know why? Because he's black, and I don't care. I do care, but you get what I'm saying? Not enough for me to turn my back on him. Now, when white people straddle the fence, they do one good thing, guess what? Black people accept them. Hey, what's up, you're part of us.
You're welcome to the barbecue.
But now we holding Kanye West accountable for every little bit. You can't do that. Because Kanye West makes great points, and he still stands with black.
But listen,
he doesn't.
Even a broke clock,
is right twice a day.
Right? So I won't say that he has valid points at some times, but then you gotta recognize that. I think we could come to the consensus that Kanye is self-serving for Kanye, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the problem, right? The thing about it, I think Jazz just mentioned the thing about the reason why for us, a lot of our thinking, why we're easily divided, because a lot of our thinking is short term, right? And because our thinking is short term is because we don't really know our history as much, so we can't look long term. There's a thing that says about like the Asian heritage thinks 3 generations ahead. Yes. We can't think 3 generations ahead because we don't even know 3 generations behind us in the sense of knowing the details, right? We know a little bit and we know the history that we were taught, but you know that's not our real history. So a lot of times we're easily divided based on money and status because we are thinking short term and we're thinking, you know what? I got the opportunity to save my little group right here, and I'm not thinking about the overall picture.
The collective.
Right? And if we were thinking about the overall picture and where we would be 10 years, 50 years from now, we would make better decisions, but we don't because we're thinking in the moment.
See, I think a lot of us have had that in our families. A lot of us have had that sacrificial generation already, to where they were the laborers. They weren't partying like that. They were saving. They made sure they were homeowners. They made sure that the family could be okay. But what happens with us is we don't have enough people in the family. Like in other cultures, you'll have like your cousins. Like let's say it's 5 cousins. Your family will sit down and say, this one's going to be the doctor. That one's going to be the lawyer. This one's going to be the carpenter. So that everything stays in house. We don't do that in our families. Like we just let our kids be whatever. Not saying your kids don't have choices, but I believe in steering children a certain way. So that it makes sense, right? So because we don't have that with us. It's like, oh, whatever. And then what happened with that sacrificial generation of grandparents or great-grandparents, the crack era swept in. And with the crack era, nobody understood home ownership. Nobody, or if you did, you were so busy on your next fix that you sold the house pennies on the dollar. The same house grandma and grandpa bust their ass 2 and 3 jobs back then to solidify. You know, we always talk about the 50-50 storyline, but you got to remember a lot of times, granddaddy and great-granddaddy didn't just have one job. A lot of them had 2 and 3 fucking jobs to make sure that the house was provided for. We've got to get back to history. And just like when we look at what's happening in Florida with them trying to get rid of Black history in the schools, it's strategic. It's for a reason.
Absolutely.
It ain't like it's just happening. No, it's because they don't want us to know how strong we once were. Like, I love Drake, but that whole started from the bottom. Black people didn't start from the bottom.
No.
Not at all. They want you to believe that's where the fuck we started. We did not at all.
You speak of a sacrificial generation, right? And in you know, the people before us, you know, taking all that pain and, you know, 5-6 jobs and being, you know, oppressed in that time period. What is the sacrifice that we're gonna make now, right? And that what's the sacrifice that us as people in this generation that came up with a level of freedom, free-ish, right? Where, you know, where you were able to move around and go to school and get the things that we get. What are the sacrifices that we're gonna make now to make sure that we're good going forward? Because I think that's 1 second. I think there's so much assimilation that we feel like some of us feel like we're them. Right? We're not, right? We need to set up ourselves to be where we can go, but because we've gotten free-ish, right? We're cool with that because we're not experiencing what our grandmother and great-grandmother experienced. So it's like, nobody's whipping me in the back, so, you know, I'm good. It's not. We need to make some sacrifices, some present-day sacrifices so we can have some long-term goals down the line.
I agree, and I think part of that sacrificial thing that we really need to focus on, I think we spoke about this before, I think what our generation needs to definitely hone on, and we're hearing the conversation a lot more, reparations. When we talk about the history, I think what you said, Jazz, is so important, but it's also important that we don't just learn American history. It's important to go to the root. A lot of us don't know our roots. We don't know about Africa, and what we do know about Africa is so impartially biased that we don't have a clear conscience of self. We don't have self-knowledge. And it's important for us to realize that the American Black person is totally different from people who come from Africa.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking about that, we're not you're not being told or steered or guided. If you look in African culture, they totally are. They're told what you're going to do.
Yep.
You're going to be a doctor. You're the lawyer. You're the barrister. You're going to be a scientist. And that was, so when we're looking at other cultures, we have that, but we don't know our true selves.
So can I disagree with you for a second?
No, because I wasn't finished.
Yeah, no, but I don't want to. I know you. I don't want to lose the train of thought. The only thing I disagree with you in a second was the fact that you said the American Black is different from the African Black. The only thing that's different is the conditioning, right? We are all the same, and I think that's part of the divide and conquer thing, right? Is the fact that we are thinking that we're different. We're not different. We're not different in any way, shape, or form. Genetically, we're not different. We're all coming. So knowing your heritage, we all came from that coast there somewhere. So the way how Asians and Jews can trace themselves back centuries and centuries is the same way we need to trace ourselves back centuries and centuries, because
we can't.
We could.
We can't.
We could, because but it's not intentional. We're not doing it as a collective because there's an argument that's saying the American Black and the American conditioning is different from the African Black and African conditioning. The conditioning is different, but we're genetically the same, and our truth lies back there if we go and find it.
I hate to disagree with you. I'm gonna let you. I hate to disagree with you. Nah, I really don't hate to disagree with you. That's like saying that, like, okay, so a shadoodle is definitely the same as a Yorkie because it has a genetic trait, but it's definitely a different dog.
No,
it is. So what I mean by that, what I'm getting at is, yes, genetically, of course, we are African.
Yeah.
We can, of course, genealogically, we can trace, but I can't tell you what my ancestral Black surname is. I can't tell you ancestrally, definitively, what tribe I come from, what part of Africa.
You actually can.
No, you actually can.
It's called
even
23andMe.
using genealogy, it's not definitive. Yeah. It's what they're telling you is definitive, right?
But you have to be intentional about going back and finding that out. You have to go back and find it out. So
I'm going to go find the Kusus. Like, I'm going to know I can know what tribe I come from, but now there's a tribe within the tribe. You see where I'm going with it?
What I'm trying to say is, if you don't know the history, if you don't try to find out the history, then you're always going to feel like you're divided. And you're always going to be a nation, a people with no nation. And you can't go forward like that. You can't go forward if you think that what you are is American and just American. Because it's not going to work like that.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that, but what I'm saying about that is it makes it so much harder for us to be able to move forward in the sense of other races can trace that. Other races have that connection.
That gives them leverage.
So right. I was about to say that. So it gives them that feeling of, you know what, I belong. We're trying to find fit the pieces of the puzzle together.
Can I give you an example? So I grew up in the islands, right? I grew up in Jamaica. When I was younger, I saw black cops, black judges, black teachers, black people in the banks, all that stuff. That gives me a different view of people about where I can be, and I took that when I came here. I came to this country because I'm looking at it like, yo, listen, no one can tell me I can't be a banker or a cop, because this is what I saw growing up, right? It gives you black prime minister, black people in power, right? Coming here, dealing even with my grandmother, she came here when I was super young. You know, they had the impression that, certain things were for white people and certain things were for black people. If you don't have that foundation like I had as a kid growing up, seeing all black people in this particular route, it's going to take a while for you to get to the point where you feel like you're an equal.
That is obtainable.
Yeah, that is attainable. So you need a foundation. The foundation that I was saying that you can find in Africa is that you see that it's a continent filled with black people in black power, right? Now you can take that and build something going forward based on the fact that I know I can be that, right? Here, it's like we're free-ish, but you know what? Swimming and skiing, those are white people. You know what I'm saying? That's what we tell ourselves, right? You're doing something that's super polite. You know, you're being like a white guy, right? I was watching a video earlier with Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys, and she ordered carrots in the club, and he was like, oh, that's the white side saying that, right? Because she wanted to eat a carrot. You know what I'm saying? Certain things are like portrayed as being outside of our realm, and especially the things that seem to be sophisticated and intelligent. But if you trace your roots back to the pyramids and the time of math and Emmett and those times before we were enslaved, then you would recognize that we had all this power all the time. So that's why I say I don't know if we can directly go back and find your actual tribe, but go back and make that connection. You know what I'm saying? Go back and make that connection and embrace that African nature that's in you, because it's there, and it's going to show you a different side of you when you go to Africa and you see people don't have flies flying around their mouth and big bellies and dying of hunger. Like, we're powerful people building things and mining and building great infrastructure, and we're building up societies outside of what we see in the Western world.
Absolutely.
So that's all I'm saying.
How do we build the pyramids? Like, how did that happen? Everything you see now, we've done before our time. Waves, braids, dreadlocks, all types of hair, different type of hairstyle, was in Egypt. So we was kings before.
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the word nigga? Or negus? Right?
Negus, yeah.
Next.
Negus, yeah. King?
We was kings.
Yeah. Yep. So hold on.
We was kings, right? We was kings.
But you know what? To kind of sum this up a little bit, though, look at that one incident that happened in Alabama, how it sparked this in-depth spiritual conversation that we're having here about roots. That's how powerful that one incident happened, right? How connective it brought us, where we're like, damn, yo.
No, that's how powerful uniting black people can be.
Yep.
I think that's what it sparked in us. And I hope that feeling continues and it grows. And I really do hope we get behind reparations, because we do need that, for real. Run us our money.
Yeah, for real. Some kind of compensation.
Because black people was partying on the boat, right?
Yeah, they was partying.
But the white people owned the boat.
All right, so
to show you where we at in different situations.
Right.
He never let me
They owned. We was partying, having a good time. They owned, so they felt entitled.
I am really surprised that you have on a white shirt right now. All of your clothes should just be black. Yeah. All of them.
You're right. I'm the original Black Panther. I should have been the Black Panther.
Yeah.
All right. So look. We was talking earlier about needing people and being in relationships for long terms, because humans need other humans and all that stuff. You don't remember this conversation, Jazz?
No,
I can't hear you.
Speak up.
Shot.
Put the mic to your mouth.
Sound like somebody that was doing drops earlier.
Yeah.
Man,
So
you
listen,
telling people to talk into the mic. You talking to the mic.
So basically, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. We was talking about how us as humans need people to be with people, right? One of us was talking about a conversation where one of their people are lonely, basically. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have anybody, right? So, and one of us said, well, who was this, Jada?
What'd I say?
You said that. You said that we didn't really need nobody like that.
Who said that?
You said that today.
I said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't she say that?
Yeah, she did say that.
I think she did.
She said she didn't need anybody right now.
I didn't.
She
say
said
that.
at all.
I definitely don't remember saying I don't need nobody right now because I need a certain somebody right now. But I said I didn't need nobody. I felt.
No, you didn't need.
You don't feel like people need
I went
people?
through a period where I didn't feel like I needed a relationship. I did say that.
All right. So Usher is quoted saying that the hardest thing was for him to do was to be basically single, and he feel like he needs somebody.
I could see where he's come from with that. Women give men purpose. Yeah, women give men purpose.
Again.
Women give men purpose.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why it hurts when y'all don't want to be with us. Because then, what is my purpose? I'm here as your king to serve you. So
Say that again. Say that again. You what? You
I am
said to do
here
what?
as your king to serve you.
Okay, thank you.
Right? So remember, this conversation started weeks and weeks ago about, you know, when you said that, Jada said that, you know,
Jada say a lot of stuff.
Jada said that black women are the most underprotected group, right?
And
We took offense to that, right?
I did.
We took offense to that because we want to protect you, right?
But
you won't allow us. You won't allow us because you've gotten so independent, right? You've gotten so strong, a fake strong and fraudulent strong. Right?
Black women are strong as
Right? You
fuck.
are strong, right? But not strong enough not to need a black man,
Amen.
Okay, I agree with that.
right? And that's the thing. So when you say that you're the most underprotected group, and then in my comment I said that I'm getting torched for on the internet, where it said, but they don't need no man, because that's what I'm getting torched for, right? The whole idea is why?
No. You're in torch because you said.
But hold on. But that was my initial.
Because if Shatek got the clip, play the clip.
My initial torch was when I commented and said, but they don't need no man, right? That led into the other clip.
I think
right?
it's the word need.
What's wrong with needing? I need you. I need my woman.
I agree. I agree with that.
Damn, that was
I agree with. I
right
agree
there.
with that. But I think it's the notion when people say need, it's like you can't live without.
I can't.
Well, but then what happens if that person was to die, and you still have to go on?
Then you lose your purpose. That portion of you that was with that person dies as well. My purpose. The reason why men want to get married and have kids and have a family is for purpose. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to work towards all the time, right? When you take away that's why men get so bitter and get into a dark
Say
place.
that again. You say you doing a lot of
I'm
talking.
telling you.
Men get what?
They get bitter.
Thank you.
We get
Thank
bitter.
you.
But why do we
Thank
get
you.
bitter? We get bitter because you deprive us of our purpose. Imagine I have my kid and you took that away. Then what am I supposed? My life is empty. What am I supposed to do? And I think that's what is not.
Ladies,
shown.
I hope y'all are listening. Ears clear. Pull the weave back. Make sure your lace front ain't blocking. Cause he is spitting some of the realest shit he's ever said today.
The purpose of marriage and family is for me to have something to look forward to. I think what women don't understand, and a lot of times for men, we're trying to create legacy. We're looking like down the road, right? And I'm looking at what I can do to build my kids so they can build their kids. And you know, we talk about your name. And the reason why you want to bestow your name on a woman or on a child later on, because you're trying to build legacy. That's my reason of wanting to be with my woman, to build purpose and build legacy. You take away those things from me. You don't want to be with me. Then what am I gonna do? I'm lost out here.
Y'all go find somebody else to build with.
No. You're talking about building a family. I'm not talking about fucking. I'm talking about building a family.
You know how? Listen, some of our great grandpas had a family here, there, and down the goddamn road.
But he still paid the bills in the house. He still took care of his responsibility.
But it still goes back to what I'm saying. A lot of you all don't need anything.
No, that's
a
not
lot
true.
of you. Yes, it is. A lot of y'all are full of shit.
So why
a
do
lot
you
of y'all
say-
will jump from house to house, mattress to mattress, making babies, making this, making that, because you don't give a fuck about your legacy. Because a lot of us haven't even been taught legacy. This goes back to what we were saying 5 minutes ago, to where we don't understand even our culture and what happened in history, right? So you don't even understand legacy. If I go right now and ask 85% of black men, well, what are you trying to leave behind? These niggas like, a Rottweiler?
Yeah, but
The fuck?
The reason why that is because part of what we just said just now. It's funny how the argument is intertwined. We didn't know what we had before, so what you can't know what you're gonna leave later on. So the sacrifice now is to build a foundation so you can build something later on. And I think the way how we're not doing that is because we're being divided, right?
Yes.
Everybody will say to you, oh, we're having these conversations on the internet and everybody has a podcast and all it is black women telling black men and black men tell, because it's divisive.
We're being divided, and we also don't have mentors. We need mentors.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm positive mentors. I'm not talking about your uncle that's been with 6 and 7 different women's niggas on child support and he's bitter. I'm talking about the mentor who's married and him and his wife have a functioning household and they make shit work. I'm talking about the woman who is a strong woman and respects her man and respects her house. We got to get back to having mentors and we got to stop, especially the older generation, that whole shit of she's stupid, she better than me, and she should have seen the red flags. Who the fuck is teaching the red flags? The older generation has to get off this superior complex and come back down to the younger generation and be transparent that I made some mistakes. I done some shit that wasn't right, but I did some things that were right. Let me tell you about them. Let me help you. I remember as a kid, I always sat and listened to my elders. Always. I loved going to my grandparents' house. I love going to my aunts and my uncles' houses. Yes. And you really sit and listen and grasp. That's why every episode we do, I watch them back. Make sure y'all do too. I watch back every episode and I take something from each and every person. And like we were saying earlier, JC really shed some light when he talked about being a soda bottle versus a bottle of water. I take that shit with me every day now. To the point I exploded the other day. I was like, damn, you fucked up your water. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because
soda. You be in a CNC.
But that goes with everything. We gotta start right. Why I gotta be CNC? Hold up. CNC? Why I can't be Pepsi?
He give you the hood soda.
Food.
You the hood soda.
I'm tropical fantasy over here. What you trying to say?
But I think, Jazz, we are starting to see, like, I'm sitting here literally in awe of what Rick said, because to me, it was a level of, it was like an light bulb moment.
Yes.
Where he's literally laying out the workings. Because most men say this one statement. Men are logical. They don't require a lot. And it's like, as women, we're like, but you do. But that one statement that you just said honed on so many things but I think that statement also comes with evolvement. It comes with intention. And it comes with alignment about knowing your purpose, that your woman, your family is your purpose. Yeah. And when, as a man who wants to leave behind a legacy, when you take that from him or you're threatened with it, you will get a different view of that man.
I'll give you an example. My oldest son is on the spectrum, right? Just turned 14. And my youngest son is 7. And we just went on a trip. And I taught my youngest son how to float. And I keep bringing it up since I did it. I don't know how to swim myself. I taught him how to float, right? And it's probably one of the most proudest moments I ever had in my life, knowing that I taught this kid something, right? And in my mind, I'm like, I just taught my oldest son now, he's 14. He just learned how to ride a bike. And I'm watching these things. And in my mind, I'm thinking those 2 moments, this kid learning how to float, and my oldest son learning how to ride a bike, what else would I be doing with myself in my life outside of this right now? There's no dollar amount, no nothing that I could have been done. There's no bottles that I've popped in my past or previously, or any amount of money that I've made or hustled before that equates to seeing my son get on this bike and ride for half a block and then fall. You know what I'm saying?
And it's pure joy.
Yeah. Yes. Or I've taught my son how to float. And when I'm doing it, my wife recorded it, and I'm looking around to see if nobody, look what I did. Look, I'm looking around yo, somebody look at this, right? Yeah. That's purpose for me, right? There's the days when I'm at work and you're thinking damn, yo, this fucking job. If I was single, I would.
Yup.
You know what I'm saying?
Day.
Purpose, right? And I think the word that came out of the initial conversation before now was intentional. in order for us to get to a point, we have to be intentional about wanting to learn, right? Wanting to change how we communicate with each other, right? Wanting to see our vulnerabilities. And I think that's the part that's making us so divisive, is that when we're having conversations about relationships and having a conversation about our position in relationship, it's easy to point the finger, but it's hard to look inward about what your role is and why things isn't working.
Absolutely.
And if I establish like, yo, what my role is and why this isn't working, and I can say, yo, listen, the reason why this isn't working is because I talk to you like this. I talk to you crazy. I talk to you with a tone that you don't like. I'm going to change that. And if you did that and I did that, what kind of conversations will we have going forward?
But we have to get intentional about wanting to heal.
Yeah.
Heal.
I don't see. Let me jump right there. I don't like those trendy terms. Toxic love, toxic masculinity. We gotta heal. We just gotta be intentional about learning how to be better.
But no.
But that's healing.
No,
but that's healing.
Healing is
important.
key. Healing.
Yes.
If we don't heal, what will we have?
That's why you're even no. Listen, that's why you're even
If you
able
don't
to
heal,
have
there's
this
no purpose.
Listen,
The reason why I understand the idea of healing. My thing is that a lot of these, what we need to happen to us, gets turned into hashtags and catchphrases and a lot of stuff that's happening in our relationships or happening in our lives is pretty cut and dry, man. Your lady don't like you doing certain things, you condition yourself and you fix that, right?
But the reason why you were doing it originally may be because of something in your past
that
you
you had to
didn't
heal.
realize.
I understand
that
that
you
part.
had
Like
to
if you,
heal.
right? Like if you
understand
see
the concept.
things, and if you see things constantly, it becomes a part. Like a lot of men that are physical abusers, their mothers were abused and they saw it, or their father abused multiple women, or somewhere along the
Or
line
they
they
were
saw
abused.
it, right?
Yeah.
Right, and they were exposed to it. So this is why the healing part of it is super
so-
important,
yeah.
because guess what? When you're fully healed, you are the water. That's it. You're that. You're the
We
water.
like some yogas, man.
Because it really makes sense,
Yeah.
because if you think about it, when you're healed, not too much can throw you off of that. Because I'm healed, which means I'm not triggered. Because and that's the other part where I understand what you're saying with the whole catchphrase. Because everyone only throws around this word healing, and we don't talk about triggers. Because that's when you really are healed, is when you become triggered and you don't act out in the way that you used to, or you don't lash out. So that's another part of it that we all got to understand too. And that goes back to even what I was saying before about speaking to people a certain way. I'm cool to where my mouth used to be reckless. I don't want anybody that saw that clip to think like, oh my God, she just walks around and talks and like, no. Nigga, I used to curse out your mama, your daddy. I even told somebody that's why your father cheated on your mom and your brother ain't your mama's. You know what I mean? Like I was petty as fuck. And I had to learn through healing, why are you talking to somebody like that? Because you're angry. Something's going on with you, sis. You don't got to talk to people crazy. So when you learn to heal, it becomes so different. I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in right now in my life because I'm fully like I always tell my boyfriend, you're getting the best adult version of me that has ever seen this earth, because I'm fucking healed and I'm okay. And I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
I'm not healed in every aspect.
And that's what I was about to say. Knowing and talking about healing and why it's so important is realizing that when you are receiving, it's a lifelong journey.
Yes.
It's not a cure.
Yeah.
You are learning how to continuously heal, and that will help you to heal with other people.
So
as
I
well.
kind of, so everyone is saying healing, and I know exactly what you guys mean, and I'm equating the word healing with just learning. And it's just learning about yourself, learning how to be a better person, learning how to
learning
be
and unlearning.
learning,
Throw
and
that in
learning,
there too.
learning, right?
Because a lot of us need to unlearn some
yep,
shit. A lot of
learning.
us were raised a certain way, and you feel like because your parents taught it, it is correct.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's not. I had to unlearn a lot of shit, yo. I grew up in one of the most judgmental households ever, and even my parents had to unlearn it as they got older, because that's what their parents or their family taught. You know, to where I can accept anybody. Now I could accept shorty walking down the street with her cheeks out twerking, and I can accept sis with the suit on in the courtroom, because I had to unlearn I got to stop judging you by just how you look and what's perceived. You know what I'm saying? So I'll throw that in there too. Yes, learn, but also unlearn. And don't be afraid to unlearn.
And in the learning and unlearning, there's a lot of vulnerability that's going to come into play. And we talked about that earlier, right? About, looking inward about what your mistakes are, right?
Yeah.
And who you were versus what where you are right now, or who you were and where you want to be, right? And I mean, we talking, how much about yourself can you hear? You know what I'm saying? If somebody, because we're good at like giving people advice about what their situation is, right? And then you're telling someone what you would do if there was a fire. Meanwhile, your house is burning down. Like, yo, how would you tell yourself that advice? And I've been doing that a lot for myself, like stepping out of the situation and being like, yo, damn, if you were someone else calling your homeboy like, yo, Rick, man, shorty's bugging, what would you tell her? Man, I mean, what would you tell your homie? You know what I'm saying? Would you tell him to go in there and beat her ass? No. You would be trying to talk him off the ledge and give him the best advice, even if you're not taking that advice yourself, right? So my thing is learning as much as possible, becoming a better version of yourself as much as possible, and then looking at how much of your own self would you be able to tolerate. And if you can't tolerate yourself, then there's a lot of fixing that needs to be done.
I agree.
A lot of people can't, though. Go ahead, my good brother.
When people wake up every day, they never wake up that day envision themselves 3 years later. It will always, the max will be that day or that week. So they'll wake up in past, or like all the memories is created with a snapshot. So I say, oh damn, tomorrow I gotta wake up, I gotta work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You're not really happy because it's the level of that day only goes like this. But if you think about, yo, damn, like it's 2025, I'm good, I feel good, I'm happy, I'm comfortable with my life right now. You'll treat people differently because you see yourself on a higher level. It's hard to see yourself on a higher level when you're thinking day to day, week to week, experience by experience. Like, why would I ever bring an old situation into a new relationship? That same mentality, I will never get nowhere. If I'm overweight because I'm eating bad food, why would I say, you know what, let's get some different bad snacks? It's the same thing.
That sounds like survival. And I think so much of us are familiar with just surviving, right? The day to day, just make it to the next day kind of thing. That you're right. If you can't see, it's almost like people say, if you can't see yourself with wealth, you'll never have it, right? You can't see yourself with something. You can't see yourself being happy, right? And that's what, and the reason why you find that men and women are so bitter is because they hold on to those older relationships. They hold on to the old trauma, the old experiences that they have, and then they generalize. And we all do it, where we say, okay, well, he hurt me, so all niggas ain't shit. Or, and then that happens. Hold on one second. That happens, and then that creates that era where we can't grow, right? I have homegirls, and I tell them, yo, listen, if you think dudes are so bad, go date a white dude. Go ahead. Go find an L7 square nigga. Go ahead. Go find him and date him. You'll get a different experience completely, right? But you'll kind of learn that everybody is not the same, right? And you can't generalize people, but we can't move on by holding on to what happened to us before. And why we don't move on is because we're afraid to be vulnerable. Love, relationships is all about vulnerability. You're giving yourself to someone else. So are you really giving yourself to someone else if you're holding on to what you had with someone before?
I just want to commend you because I feel like you definitely just spoke a whole word of confirmation when you said the 3 years. I literally, in my journal, when I write, I sign off Jada G, future MSW, and that's in 3 years for me. So I think it is so important for people to be able to see your shall be. Too many of us just see our right now. You have to be able to conceive what you will be and what you can be. And it's important that, again, that keyword, the perception of the day, that intentional. You have to be intentional with what you want, what you think you're gonna have, and what you can have.
And that's structure, right? So like that's why white families are so successful more than us, because they have structure, so they know what they're gonna do in a few years, right? We don't know what's our next. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what we're gonna do out of high school, before high school, college. We don't know nothing. We're not structured properly. So if we're not structured properly with our life, how will we ever be structured in a relationship? It goes hand in hand. Okay. If you're not structured with your life, you will never be structured in a relationship. I call her, I make her feel good. We go out, we have fun. She tells me how she feels. I tell her how I feel. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna buy property together. We're gonna do this together. When I marry a woman, we're gonna do this on this type of level. Not, she look, I don't know. Let me see what's going on. Like it ain't no structure, so it will never go nowhere.
Yeah. But I also agree with the intentions, and to double back to the comment of niggas ain't shit. The funny thing is, when we talk about manifestation, we only talk about it in the positive. And it works both ways.
Absolutely.
To where you can't manifest what you don't believe exists. So if you're saying niggas ain't shit, then you're never gonna find a man that is worth anything. Like, you can't keep, like, as women, we got to stop putting that out there in the universe, right? No, there are great men out there. There are men that are going to do the things that you desire, that are going to be what you want and need for the next piece of your journey, right? So I think we got to be intentional about that. You got to be intentional about what you watch and what you feed your spirit. If you're a spiritual person, why are you really watching Love and Hip Hop? Is it really entertaining, and to who?
Yeah.
How many of us started watching Love and Hip Hop back when it started in the beginning of the 2000s?
I couldn't tell you a person on the cast
right
now. Shout out to Mona Scott Young.
When you look up, you are actually living what you were watching.
Yep.
To where the baby mama drama started in your life, the womanizer, the this, the that, because you allowed it. I don't even listen to certain types of music anymore because I can't feed because your spirit doesn't know the difference. Your soul doesn't know this is just for entertainment. If you're on a certain level and you're enlightened on a certain level, the shit you feed yourself, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, it means something. Even when you watch horror movies in your house and you get that scared sense because you watched it in your fucking house.
Absolutely.
Like, we as a people have to be so careful, but also be intentional. You want this type of man? Let me tell you, I manifested the person I'm with now. I swear to everything. I used to write the craziest stuff on Facebook, like cook babe, salmon, rice, and something else tonight. I didn't even know how to cook at that time. I'm just fucking around on Facebook like, he loved it. I'm in that. And like, people that know me are like, damn, you really manifested this. We travel all the time. I wanted somebody that understood me and I understood them. You got to get intentional and stop hopping from person to person. It's okay to feel people out before you get with them and be like, I don't really, that person don't really rock with me.
Black people don't believe in the future and they don't believe in manifesting anything. If they don't see it right then and there.
Do you think it's that they don't believe it, or they just
weren't taught?
It's not, again, like what she was saying about the learning.
I think it's a combination of both, right? It's like if you there's different kinds of learners, right? There's visual learners and people that can hear a thing and then can put it together. And if we're not getting both, we're deprived of both. We're deprived of the prime examples, because what we've learned traditionally is like, who do we look up to? Athletes, entertainers, right? Those are the people that are put on pedestals for us, right? And those are the examples. And then if you do the math on who can really become an NBA, 5,100 people have played in the NBA since the existence of the NBA. 5,100 people have actually played on the basketball court. That is 0.000000000 of the percentage of people, right? Of the population that actually gets to be that level of success. If that's our mentor and those are the people that we're looking up to, it's almost like anything that we're trying to get is unattainable, right? Whereas if we were using better examples of people, what our idea of success was, you know what I mean? We talked back in the day about how, you had the Cosby Show or something like that was something you could aspire to. Uncle Phil on Fresh Prince or whatever. Those were legitimate things that you could be like, damn, they're living like that. You know what I mean? I remember dudes used to watch and be like, Uncle Phil got all the fly polo on. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that we could aspire to want to be like.
Because it was obtainable. And
you could see it, right? A lot of times now, the music is so dumbed down. The content is so dumbed down. So much ignorance. I remember I keep trying to tell my youngest son, yo, when people say you're a know-it-all, tell them it's better than knowing nothing, right? Because a lot of times, we perpetuate this level of ignorance. Oh, well, fuck that. Fuck that. We don't gotta learn nothing. We'll do this, and that ignorance translates into everything going forward, and then you wonder why your life is empty, because you're not pushing anything worth learning in your life, right? You're not embracing a learning type of lifestyle, and when you do that, you're gonna become empty.
Let me just go back to what JC said for a second. I agree, but I disagree, and let me tell you why. Because I grew up in a church, and church people always, we didn't call it manifestation. but they believed if you prayed for something, it would show up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now we're getting away from the church and the ideologies of church and playing church. So we're now manifesting is such a hard, bad word, and oh my God, it's the devil's play, and blah, 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 blah. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing, because back in the day, we would pray for the new house, the car, the job, God open the doors and do this and do that, and blah, 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 blah. So we've been doing it. We've been doing it.
It's a different word.
It's a different word, and it's the fact that we're now putting the work in.
So that's the key.
To manifest what we want. To
absolutely
where
the key.
before we were just praying for it and hoping for the miracle. So now it's, okay, I want a 5-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms and a guest suite. Well, damn, I got to put in some overtime. I may have to go back to school and get a higher degree so I can get a better job.
My credit.
Right. So now we're understanding
there's the work.
The work.
After all of that, does it come true?
It can if that's what you want.
So when they say God helps those who help themselves.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Faith,
absolutely-
it says it in the Bible. It's biblical because
So now
faith without works is dead.
So now if we're in a relationship
yes,
and you don't want to help yourself, who am I to better you?
That's that's the thing, and that's where I was getting at.
God.
You
wanna be God?
It ain't just be God. It's the
did.
process, right? The thing about bettering you and bettering your relationship is that it's a process. And everybody wants a microwave relationship.
Yes.
Everybody wants
That's the world we live in.
to be right here, right now. I was having a discussion with someone earlier that, the expectation is everyone wants to do, the women want to do the 6'4", they're making $500,000 a year. He got 4 houses and he got no kids, right? And the thing is, if that's what you want, or you that's where you're trying to get to, we all have to be working on ourselves and putting in the work to get to that point. And what we're doing now is trying to circumvent the process. The relationship is the process.
But the other side of it, which we've been saying this whole episode as well, is you got to work on you.
Absolutely.
If I'm I have to be more concerned about how I treat you than how you treat me. If I become more concerned about what I say to you, how I say it, when I say it, why am I saying it, I think as adults that are trying to be better, we all have to get to this place of, how am I being perceived? Not what you do to me. What am I doing to you? And let me be more concerned about that. Because if I'm treating you good, all right, you might treat me away. I have the option to walk away, but I still stay true to who the fuck I was. Yeah. And I can always walk away with my head held high. Like, we got to get to that point where I'm not matching energy no more. Like I said before, like, I'm going to be me. I can either deal with you or I can walk away. It's that simple.
All right, absolutely. So I have a question, right? What was something that you felt like you changed, that you're proud of yourself for changing?
Oh, can I go first?
Yes.
Can I go second?
You can. Seconded. I learned how to not feel that I had to get my point across. And
powerful.
And a lot of that came from the fact that I can honestly admit I lived in all my life I had to fight type of atmosphere.
All my life.
Yeah, I'm the original Sophia, Miss Sophia, and
Sophia home now.
It goes back. I know Rick don't want to hear it, but it goes back to healing. You know what that came from? That came from being the little girl, like you said, when you because I read books. I've always loved to read. I love to read, even to this day, more than I watch TV. I grew up with a bookcase in every house I've ever lived in. My punishment was taking my books from me. So I was always told, you act white, but I'm in the hood. And I'm talking, because I'm talking grammatically correct, I'm being teased. And wanting to be accepted, running home. And it got to a point where it's like, I'm not running. No, my grandmother locked the door and I had to go fight. But once I learned that so now once I learned that I had to fight, then that changed to now anybody who's opposing me, I'm gonna fight. And then it got to the point where if I even perceive that I feel like you opposition me, I want to fight. So when I started literally working on myself, I realized everything didn't need to fight. Why am I fighting? When you start to look at the cause and root of why you're doing something, it changes your whole outlook. And I know we spoke about it before. Even within which is hopeful, it's going better now, y'all, going better. even my co-parenting. When I learned I didn't have to fight with him anymore, it was like a aha moment. Like, why am I? I'm not fight with you.
It takes two to fight.
And it knocks everything and puts it into perspective. So the best thing was learning that I didn't have to fight everything. For what? Let it go.
Yeah.
That was
the water.
I became
be the water.
I became
That's gonna be on a t-shirt.
Just call me Aquafina.
That's a fact.
It's gonna be on a t-shirt.
Aquafina Fiji Gillen
Want
water.
to be the soda bottle or the water bottle?
I've become the water bottle.
Yeah.
Shake the soda bottle up, open the top, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Shake the water bottle up, open the top, still there.
It's still there.
And that's what we need to be. Still there.
I became the water.
Why should we act up? What I've learned is to never react and understand that everybody's going through their own situation, their own trauma, and I cannot take nothing personal because it's all business. So they doing what's business for them. They doing what they feel to protect their feelings and guard how they really feel. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I gotta learn to understand it and protect it. Or like if they do something, I can't take it personal. I gotta cater to it. That's my number one goal in life, is to cater to a black person's feelings. Because if I love them and I cherish them and I know there's something inside of them, I can't go fight them. I can't be like have friction with them. I gotta let them understand, like, listen, I understand that's how you feel, but let me come to you with a different approach. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to build with you. I'm not against you. Once you have that situation, that conversation with us, I hope things go better.
Yeah. I think with me, it's been the fact that I've embraced the fact that I don't know it all. Right? So I'm always working on myself because I don't know it all. Right? And Sean know me for a long time. I've always kind of like been the leader of my clique or my crew and the person that everybody runs to for advice and answers. And I embraced that role for a long time because, you know what I mean, yeah, people looked for me to be the leader, right? But sometimes the best way to lead is to give up the leadership.
Ooh, say that again.
You feel what I'm saying? So I kind of understood that. I learned that. Like, okay, I don't have the answers all the time, right? So in order for me to gain the answers, I gotta tell someone, like, yo, I don't know. Now I want to learn. So I've been working on learning as much as possible, learning about myself, learning about how to deal with other people, not just deal with people how I think they want to be treated, but actually deal with people how they want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? And that has been a big change in everything that I've done, because now it's allowed me to put myself in a circle where I can gain information, and then I can actually be vulnerable. Maybe a long time ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I would never be telling people that I don't know certain things, or I would pretend that I know, or act like I know, or feel like I'm in charge all the time. Earlier this week, maybe not earlier this week, the day before yesterday, I had an anxiety attack. And I remember having anxiety attacks before and never saying nothing to nobody, right? Like just holding on to it, right? And I had an anxiety attack 2 days ago, and I was telling my wife, like, yo, I don't know why I feel like this. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, oh, maybe you're thinking about something. But at least I told her, right? Before, I held on to it for a long time, and then I'll be grouchy, or I'll be angry, and I don't know why I'm angry, or I'm tired and I don't know why I'm tired. So now I've gotten to a point where it's like I'm becoming way more vulnerable with myself, and I also recognize that, yo, I've made it to this point. I don't have to fight anymore.
You don't have to fight.
Yeah, I don't got to fight nobody no more.
Yeah.
Bro, you win. Yo, you win, fam. You know where I'm going? I'm hitting 9-5. I'm gonna be on the beach tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You win. I don't gotta be confrontational. I ain't gotta insult you. I'm so proud of myself in the fact that, like, I've been talking to all these people online based on the clip that I said, and I have not disrespected not one of these women, not one time. I didn't call them no names. I didn't say nothing, because we're having a conversation. And that even if they disrespected me, if I hear one more little dick conversation, right? I took it. And at the end of the conversation, I was like, yo, thanks for engaging. Have a good night. Have a good day. Whatever. Right? Because I'm not going to lose. Right? I lose when every time I close my mind off and I become ignorant. Right? Or I lose every time I don't learn. Mm-hmm. There's a thing that says if you're not learning, you're dying. right? So it's like I don't. I'm reversing that, right? I want to keep learning so I can continue to live, right? And use that information to feed everything else. And I feel like that's been my biggest and proudest moment, the fact that I recognize that I can be vulnerable now. I could be there's nothing that I'll say to you or nothing you can say to me can take away my masculinity. Nothing. Nothing.
There's strength. There's strength and vulnerability.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you found who you are. You know what I'm saying? I'm a whole man. You know what I'm saying? So there's
black man.
A whole black man.
Yeah.
Right? And my track record speaks for itself. I sometimes I show that to my lady. Like, yo, look where we came from. Look where we've gotten. Like, no one can take that from me. Like, I got 2 beautiful kids. I got a nice house. I got a good job. We got 401ks and investments and stuff like that. We've built that. So if somebody came and said something, you know, to try to emasculate me, it wouldn't even work because I got all this up here. All you got is this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to come with something major to surmount this. And every time I'm building this higher and higher, you can't knock down this fortress. Right? So there's nothing that you can't step on none of my sneakers to get me upset right now. Maybe 15 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd have been pissed. I could take it off. You could have it. I could go home barefoot right now. It wouldn't upset me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's where I think my biggest strength has lied right now. Or the biggest change I've made.
You are not a know-it-all.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm not a know-it-all.
I want to say, what was the question again?
What's the biggest change?
What's the biggest change that you're proud of in yourself? That you're proud of?
So the biggest change.
Yo, how would we run the show without Jada?
The biggest change, right? The biggest change that I'm proud of with myself is I stopped rearranging pictures that other people were painting.
Yeah.
When people showed me who they were, it would always be like, oh, but, or it was always something. To now, I could just take things for what they are. I remember growing up, my father always had the Serenity Prayer. It was like knitted. It was very weird. It was like knitted, but it was like a picture, like real old school.
About that's old school. Everybody had one.
And he always had it. He always had it in his house, and I used to always read it and not understand. But now I completely understand. You know, having the power to change certain things and understand the wisdom the wisdom to know what you can't change. Like, because I used to exert so much energy trying to fix everybody's problems and try to fix. Nah, it's not my calling. I'm tired because you're not my mission, and I took you on, and I shouldn't have. So now I'm learning that the picture you painted, I don't have to rearrange because baby, that's your picture. And I learned after that, I stopped being so exhausted mentally, physically, and spiritually. Because you can be drained spiritually, especially in relationships. I'm not changing you, bruh. I'm not. That's not my assignment. I'm gonna take you for what it is. I can guide, I can steer, I can encourage, but you gotta want to do it. You know, as women, we love doing that shit. Dude will take you to get a slice of pizza. Oh, we went on a date. Bitch, it was pizza. No, it wasn't. You were hungry. I was hungry. We went and just got something to eat. We talked. It was mad regular. Oh, but he paid for it. It was $2.
Whoa, see? Hold on. Hold on. We're not letting that fly over.
That's that bullshit. That is that bullshit.
When you're younger, little things made you happy.
No, yes. But what I'm saying is, like, it'll be a dude that has no intentions on ever getting with you. Like, perfect example, if I work the overnight on my job, right, there are usually one of the guys that I work with goes to get breakfast. And he'll be like, yo, you want something? And he'll go buy it. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I want a bagel. And I'll go to give him some money. He'll be like, nah, I got it. That don't mean he want me. He was going in anyway. But some women will rearrange the pic. Right. But some women will rearrange that picture and be like, girl, he bought me breakfast. He trying to get my panties. Bitch, he was hungry. He's being courteous. So that's what I mean by rearranging pictures. Like, we have a way of taking something and turning it into what we want it to be instead of taking it at face value for what it is.
Because on the inside, what does she want?
A man.
The dick. I don't know.
The black man.
The black man?
All right.
But you made a good point, and I just want to close that out. When you are bringing your life into alignment, then you will realize that there are some people who are just attached to you, and there are literally some people who you are your assignment. People who you are assignment, they're ordained, and they are in your life for a reason. They're sent there. You're meant to nourish them, and they're meant to nourish you. People who are just attached to you, it could be for a season, or it could be for just a moment. And you have to be able to discern the difference and know when to let them go accordingly.
don't be working on nobody that's not working on themselves.
Well,
That too. That's a whole message.
That's the thing. Don't be working on nobody and that goes into even in any relationship.
Yes.
Right? Because I remember when I just had my oldest son, and I used to, I was still outside, but niggas be like, "Oh, bro, you're not coming outside." I'm like, bro, my trajectory is changed, right? And then because you're not outside with them, right, is either you're gonna be outside with them and they're gonna keep you outside, or you're gonna go the path that you're supposed to go. Later on in life, they have their own kids and their trajectory changed, and it's kind of they can see now that, okay, listen, what we were doing was different. If you are with people that all they're doing is the same thing over and over, when I say doing the same thing over, they're not working on trying to be better versions of themselves, right? Because sometimes someone to get a better car, but that doesn't make them a better person.
absolutely.
I tell you a crazy thing, Sha. I tell you, I had a red BMW, right, Sha?
Yeah.
Now I got a Jeep Cherokee, and I feel like I'm in the best position in my life. And during them times, I was balling, right? And you thought you were balling, but internally, you weren't there. I wasn't there. And I mean, I was ignorant. I was doing wild shit outside, and I was doing all the things that I shouldn't have been doing. And I feel like the point where I've gotten so comfortable with myself that those things don't matter anymore.
Growth.
Right? So you're working on yourself, and then when you're
purpose.
Yeah. Big time. Big time. And then not even just having a purpose, you're acknowledging your purpose, right? You understand that because it's kind of like you've been had a purpose, but you never acknowledged it, right? So now you acknowledge your purpose. Now this is where I'm going to be. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to keep things. And this is how we're all moving forward together, right? So now the things that used to hold weight from a material standpoint or from a visual standpoint or from a perceptive standpoint don't hold any weight anymore, because now everything is in here. Right, you're having that confidence inside, and like, okay, listen, and I mean, I know exactly who I am. No matter what you say to me, you can't do nothing to me to take that away. So, I'm working on myself. She's working on herself and on herself. So now we can come together and do something. And every time I haven't had an argument maybe in the last 5 years.
Oh wow.
Where I've had arguments, but I haven't had an argument in the last 5 years where I felt like, oh, this is the end of it. We don't have those kind of arguments. We have arguments where she might be tight and I'm tight, and we might go in that room, but ain't no, I'm packing my shit and I'm leaving. We haven't had those arguments because
first of all, I just moved. Packing is ghetto as fuck. Right? I see why people stay together because that's some bullshit.
Right?
I don't know who you men are that only have garbage bags with clothes.
Yeah,
get your fucking life. Go ahead, finish your thing. I was triggered. Packing is bullshit.
Packing is some bullshit.
Remember who has a gun when they trigger.
Yeah, but that's my thing is, we haven't had those arguments where you feel like it's gonna be over because we know where we're.
Because y'all don't want to pack. No, I'm just kidding.
She can have shit.
Preach.
But the thing is, we haven't had those arguments because we've set up a goal. I mean, this is where we're trying to get to.
And you're both working.
Yeah, we're working
on yourself.
The last thing I'll say to that as well, because I'm sure we're going to segue into something else, but the last thing I'm going to say is we were taught and conditioned as children that it's only right and wrong. And either I'm right, you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. And that's not life.
Yeah.
In situations, especially in relationships, there are parts where I can be right, but then I can be wrong. You can be right, you can be wrong, and we can both be wrong, and we can both be right. Yeah. We're not taught that. We're taught one or the other, and that's why a lot of us don't know how to function in healthy relationships because you were only taught it's one way, and it's not.
And
it can be so many different
and
it can be so many different ways, and the learning and unlearning and. Seeing other people's perspectives and point of views and how they were raised and blah, 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 blah.
And this could be right for this moment.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And wrong later.
Right.
Later. Fact.
Right. Gotta learn how to table some things.
Yeah. Right.
Table.
So, the thing that I'm most proud of that I've changed, right? You forgot about me, right, guys?
Yeah.
You like Charlie's Angels. Like, you just talking, we can't see you.
Bosley. We ain't know.
Mr. Feeney.
The most proud thing that I've changed is that I'm not worrying about anybody else's thoughts on me anymore, right? I'm not dimming my light for anybody else anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to learn who I am. Rick always be saying you need to learn who you are, and you need to, Shatek is bigger than you, and it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm learning that, I'm understanding that, and I'm really putting that forth in my life you know, and not feeling bad. I don't have survivor's guilt what is it? What is it?
Survivor's remorse.
That is so
survivor's
real.
remorse
Right.
anymore.
That is-
Survivor's remorse.
Survivor's
Yeah.
remorse is so real with black men.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Like
It's
I've
huge.
I've made it out the hood. I understand that. I've done spectacular things with my life. I understand that. I have a different life. I'm not stuck there. I don't have to be stuck with family. I don't have to stuck with certain friends. I don't have to do this anymore. And I have to. I'm glad that I understand that in my life now.
Shot, isn't that a great realization though? When you recognize, like, yo, I don't have to be in a hood at all. I don't have to be in a hood. Whatever that version of the hood was that we were thought that we had to be there, that this is where you were gonna be, and this is, you know what I mean? When you probably were in your teenage years, you're like, yo, I'm probably gonna die here. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, the environment that I live in right now is just as comfortable to me as where I was then. Right?
It's more comfortable.
I like this version way better.
I love to go outside at nighttime and walk.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about nothing and just say what's
Yo.
up to my neighbors. I love to be in the pool in my community, and I'm not gonna see anyone that's not from there. I love the fact that at nighttime, if I see a car on the street parked up, I know that they don't
ain't from
belong
around
here because they don't supposed to park in the street at nighttime.
Exactly.
You call the police on people when you
I'm
don't know
calling
the
the
car?
motherfucking police.
Absolutely.
Like, who is this? Who is this motherfucker out here?
Yeah.
I'm using the Ring neighborhood app. Did y'all niggas see this motherfucker on St. James Place?
Not the neighborhood.
There's a car parked in front of 1265. I've never seen it before.
Exactly. Anybody know what's going on in the neighborhood? But you know,
It's a joke.
to say all of that is, I'm proud of where I'm from, and I'm proud of where I'm going, and I'm proud of where I am. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Conversations on Film, and I thank everybody that likes, subscribe, and everything. And I thank you guys in here today, Jada, Jasmine, Hollywood Rick, and JC Delight, and Javon, and whoever else that be a part of this shit that makes this go. You know what I mean? Because you know I definitely can't do it. It's with me, but it's y'all niggas.
Yeah,
But it's with me. Shout out to all the red cups. Shout out to the 2 million views we got on that clip. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the nigga from Wakanda that posted it. What's his name?
From Wakanda.
Winston.
Shout out to
Your
Duke
royal
Winston.
thighness.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. And we appreciate it, man. Everybody take a drink.
All right. Salute.
All right.
COF.
All right. Check us out.
All right.
Peace.
Whoa, Shatek.